Some of the greatest joys in life can be starting a family. When we have a baby, we get excited to meet our baby. Who will they look like? And what will their first word be? Will it be mama or dada? Well, if you're this guy who goes by Brother Abu Ahmed, you're probably going to be pissed off when your baby's first word isn't Allah. Just when we think things can't get more bizarre in the world of dawah, it does. This Australian preacher lives in the West, yet he seems to be repulsed by Muslim youth embracing Western ways of life. Honestly, what did this guy think was gonna happen? In this article by The Australian, I am going to go through what Brother Abu Ahmed is whining about from the minbar. How Muslims are leaving Islam and being influenced by liberalism and logical thinking. Not just that, he wants the youth to get guidance from Muslim political prisoners, aka those convicted of crimes like terrorism. You thought the UK was off the rails? Wait until you see what's happening in Australia. Let's get into it. Is everybody ready? Buckle in and get ready for this wild tangent I am about to share with you from Brother Abu Ahmed at Al Bayina Islamic Center in Melbourne, Australia. The Australian has reported that Brother Abu Ahmed is pissed off about a lot of things going on in the West. The first being a baby's first words. Let's read his bizarre understanding of the language development in babies. A cleric at a newly established Islamic center in Melbourne, backed by radical Sydney preacher Wissam Haddad, has lamented that young Australian Muslims are being brainwashed, falling victim to liberal ideologies, and that the first words spoken by a child shouldn't be mother or father, but Allah. So, I'm a mom, obviously, and despite my child never having a father, do you know what she said first? Her first word, quote unquote, was dada, not mama. Why would that be? Why would my child utter a word of a person who's clearly not in her life and never was? Well, the answer is simple. Try to say dada right now. Like, what happens? Just your tongue moves to make the sound. Now say mama. Your lips have to move to say that. Saying dada does not require complex lip coordination. In other words, my daughter wasn't trying to say dada, she was just babbling. It's really that simple, guys. Imagine a baby trying to say Allah as their first word. It's the same thing. It requires a heavy L sound. That's not naturally part of a baby's babbling. There's phonetic simplicity in saying dada as opposed to mama or Allah. You know, I am pointing this out because there are so many Muslims who will just eat this garbage up, nod their heads, and go along with what he's saying. This is why I can't stand to spend my Fridays listening to people like this. So many of them are wildly uneducated about basic things, and it just pains me to listen to them say something so stupid. Apparently, not saying Allah first is a failure on behalf of Muslim parents, according to Brother Abu Ahmed. But he's not done complaining. Let's see what else he has to say. With a slick social media footprint, a preacher known as Brother Abu Ahmed warned Al Bayina's congregation and followers on YouTube and TikTok that young Australian Muslims were converting to liberal ideologies and becoming desensitized to what was forbidden in Islam. Muslims are converting to liberal ideologies, apparently, but wait a second. I thought there was no such thing as an ex-Muslim, but apparently you can convert to a liberal ideology. Okay then. He says the youth are becoming desensitized to what is forbidden in Islam. Now, I do acknowledge there are genuinely harmful behaviors for youth, like drinking, smoking, and exposure to pornography. I am not arguing against that at all, but since this guy comes off so extreme, I have a feeling he's talking about anything that is deemed normal and acceptable by most, such as dressing the way you want, wearing makeup, getting a part-time job in a mixed environment. Our imaginations can run wild with this one because these guys never name a few things that are universally harmful, but anything that's not Islamic. He says this: "My dear brothers, it is saddening to tell you that we continue to hear stories of our youth falling victim to liberal ideologies and being confused, brainwashed by so-called logical thinkers," Brother Ahmed told the congregation in January. "Our youth are turning away from Islam and are turning to other ways of life right under our noses." Next, he says that the youth are brainwashed by logical thinkers. It's almost like he's admitting that Islam is illogical. Well done, Abu Ahmed. I love when the Dawah guys do the work for us. Well, what exactly does that look like, Brother Abu Ahmed? Turning from Islam could mean anything that is not strict, your strict form of Sharia. Even hijabis that try to be fashionable and wear makeup, they can be seen as turning away from Islam. If he's talking about apostasy here, like totally leaving it, which I think he is, I mean, can you honestly blame them? I was doing some research and I found this interesting blog that highlights some of the issues with Muslim youth and why they leave. And I found this super insightful and I wanted to share it with you guys. The rise of secularism is leading many Muslims away from the Islamic faith. A 2017 Pew Research Center survey of American Muslims reveals that about 24% of those raised in Islam have left the faith. In America alone, the problem of young people leaving Islam has been described as a ticking time bomb, with a new generation of educated Muslims starting to question the fundamentals of their faith. This next part of the article was super interesting. Insights from Charles Taylor. After analyzing responses from key Islamic scholars, one wonders if they understand the complexity of secularism. For this, Charles Taylor's A Secular Age is helpful. While Attis and other Muslim scholars see unbelief due to secularization, they should realize that Islam is one of many options. For Taylor, the secular age is first a plurality, where individuals get to choose for themselves. A hallmark of secularism is constant doubt and skepticism, where everything is up for grabs. The question is always, what is believable? In contrast, Islam discourages doubt and disallows questions. In secularism, Muslims find space to express their doubts and escape the rigid walls of religion. It is often YouTube where Muslim apologists hear questions and challenges to Islam. In conservative contexts, questions are not welcome, but on YouTube, Muslims break free. Second, it is the age of authenticity, described as expressive individualism. It is the place where everyone has his/her own way of realizing our humanity. And the supreme virtue is tolerance. This includes the lifestyle of rich young Muslims in Abu Dhabi, fancy-dressed college students in Lahore, or secret beach parties in Jeddah, attended by bikini-clad girls. All are expressing their individualism. Third, Taylor's exclusive humanism lies at the heart of secularism. Here, people search for no higher meaning and purpose other than to flourish and find fulfillment. It is the belief that the ability to accomplish anything lies within each person. YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram are unstoppable forces for humanism with the beliefs and lifestyles described above. To say such things are at odds with Islam is a complete understatement. In Muslim communities, conforming to the group to avoid shame is expected, and there is little room for tolerance if one's individualistic lifestyle goes against the norm and current of Islam. It's really no surprise that we are becoming a world that wants to be accepting and tolerant of others. We want to be individuals and embrace others to pursue such as well. Many Muslims are fed up and disgusted with what their religion offers them, and I don't blame them. They're seeking a way out, a way where everyone's quality of life is elevated. Islamic scholars are conscious of certain tenets of secularism, but in light of Charles Taylor's work, it would appear they are ignorant of its major tenets. They seem oblivious to secularism's pillars, such as religious plurality, authenticity, the ability to question things, expressive individualism, and discovering what works for me. All are evident in the Islamic world, especially among young people leaving Islam. Due to failures in Islamic settings, Muslims are tired and fed up. ISIS, the harsh rules of Islamists, civil wars, broken economies, corruption, and poverty are troubling them. Hence, they are looking for new answers, because the old ways are no longer satisfying. Secularism promises success, untethered to religion, where people can realize their dreams and rid themselves of religion's oppressive burdens. So it's interesting that they mention what Muslims are tired and fed up with, from ISIS to corruption, not being satisfied by the answers and worldview that Islam has fed them. Quick pause. If you like this video so far, don't forget to like it and hit the subscribe button. I love to find articles and stories no one else has covered yet. If you want to see me cover more stories that have yet to grace YouTube, consider supporting my efforts on Patreon. I will leave the link to Patreon in the description below. Speaking of being fed up, one of Al Bayyina's community members is a guy named Wissam Haddad, who is known for referring to Jews as, get ready for it. This guy refers to Jews as descendants of pigs and monkeys, reciting parables about their killing, describe them as treacherous people with their hands in media and business. And he also encourages jihad. Are we really surprised here? To be honest, I absolutely shudder and feel deep shame when I hear these things as a former believer, and it's one of the reasons I would walk outside and feel afraid to wear the hijab. I used to be plagued by so much anxiety of being harmed. I remember after my daughter was born, my parents told me I shouldn't wear the hijab anymore because of someone trying to hurt me or my daughter. I never ever was associated with crap like this. I never hated anyone at all. I was just someone who wanted to feel a connection with God, have a family, and be part of a nice community. So even reading this a few years after leaving is enough to make me feel physically sick. At the Kaaba, we have this guy making dua for the Jews to be killed one by one. He says, "O Allah, save the oppressed Muslims in Palestine from the usurping Jews. Count them and kill them one by one, and do not leave a single one of them behind." What a beautiful religion, right? I find it so strange that Brother Abu Ahmed and Mr. Wissam Haddad are preaching such hate in a country that welcomed them, yet they also say in the same breath that it's prohibited to live in the West because the risk of losing Islam is so high. Brother Abu Ahmed said this: "Our community leaders need to work twice as hard, teaching our youth Tawheed, because of how easy it is to be brainwashed and how easy our imams can be poisoned by other ideologies. And this is why it is prohibited to live in these lands, the West. The risk of losing your Islam is too high." In December, Brother Abu Ahmed said that Sharia was the legislation sent to mankind, and the only set of rules to be implemented and ruled by, adding that Western societies would demand its implementation if they knew the truth. "We've neglected the rule of Allah, and we have accepted and stayed silent to other legislations," he said. The grossness doesn't end there. He has advice for those who are questioning where they can get their Islamic knowledge from. He says this: criticizing people who labeled some Muslim preachers as extremists, Brother Ahmed urged followers to gain knowledge from Muslim political prisoners and those martyred in the path of Allah. The center's spokesman said it was a reference to classical scholars such as Ibn Taymiyyah and Ahmed ibn Hanbal. So, let me get this straight. Muslims are supposed to learn from convicted terrorists and people who are unaliving themselves for Allah. I mean, this is absolutely nuts. This is who he wants the youth to salivate over and idolize. Not someone normal who maybe started their own cat rescue or someone who achieved something significant with their life. No, let's idolize people who are willing to sacrifice themselves for a 7th century caravan robber that cosplayed as a prophet who loves death and bloodshed. I am sure that by teaching kids to idolize people like this, they will be raising well-adjusted, high-quality, contributing members of society. Let's see what kind of examples Abu Ahmed is referring to here. The Al-Bayyinah Center recently called for the release of Afia Siddiqui, Lady Al-Qaeda, who said was imprisoned unjustly by the United States government. One of the U.S.'s most wanted women for her links to Al-Qaeda leadership, Siddiqui was sentenced in 2010 to 86 years in prison for attempting to kill U.S. military personnel. The sentencing prompted protests in her native Pakistan. The Pakistani government has lobbied the U.S. for Siddiqui's release, and Al-Qaeda and other extremist groups have demanded she be freed. Let's get this straight. Mr. Abu Ahmed believes the first word a baby speaks should be Allah, followed by having the youth look up to a terrorist known as Lady Al-Qaeda. I want to say I'm surprised, but I'm not, honestly. I think the only thing that's surprising at this point is the fact that the West still hasn't woken up to what's being preached in their countries, places that have suffered great sacrifice for the freedoms they have. In conclusion, it seems like the Dawah caravan is going off the rails, and we are here to talk about it. People like Brother Abu Ahmed and Wissam Haddad are the ones preaching hatred at the minbar. Are Muslim parents really going to be surprised when their kids grow up to be apostates, better people without Islam because they don't want to listen to the negativity preached at them every Friday? That's what all of this is. It's toxic and negative. Isn't religion supposed to help you become a better person? In the minds of people like Wissam Haddad and Brother Abu Ahmed, that's what they think they're doing. Hatred towards others is their idea of an ideal world. If you like this kind of content, hit the subscribe button and consider joining us on Patreon. Your support is invaluable in bringing content like this into existence. Leave Islam behind. Life is better and more beautiful without it. This is Mrs. Friendly Ex-Muslim signing out.